I am the founder and CEO of Banish, and I wanted today to share with you what's real and what's not real in the world of beauty, skincare, and microneedling. So before I get into that, I'm going to do a really quick story introducing myself. I've had acne since I was 9 years old, have suffered with so many different skin issues, but having cystic acne really changed my life and the way I view myself and the way I viewed the world. I was constantly called pizza face, and people were saying, why don't you just wash your face? Why are you gross? Why are you disgusting? All of that. So I spent my whole teenage life trying to fix my skin. I went to different dermatologists, doctors, naturopath healers, tried out every single medication out there, and nothing seemed to work for my skin. So I wanted to become a dermatologist, and I studied pre-med at Duke University and, did that whole route to hopefully become a dermatologist. And during this time, while I was in college, I started a YouTube channel. So this was over 15 years ago. So I was one of the first OG YouTubers, and I was just in my dorm room. Literally, you can see I'm in my dorm room reviewing different skincare products. Okay. So I was saying, hey, this product is good, this product sucks, these are the ingredients in this product, all of that. And what I soon realized was that so many of the skincare products that were marketed towards us felt good, smelled good, looked good, but didn't actually have good ingredients for our skin. And in fact, would make us or make me break out even more. And I developed a small but loyal following, and people really liked me because I shared my skin authentically on the internet. I was one of the first, acne bare-faced influencers. And this video called Growing Up Ugly, it's still on my YouTube channel, really put me on the map, and it has over 300,000 views. And people really liked it because they just found out that I was just a real person with real skin issues. And that video developed my following as one of the OG YouTube acne skincare creators. So during this time, I was still trying to fix my skin issues. I did a ton of research and, read through every single ingredient of every single skincare product I used. And again, I was also studying this in school. And I soon realized that, a lot of the skincare ingredients that I was using contained a lot of filler ingredients, artificial colors, fragrances, all of that actually broke me out. So I have very, very sensitive skin. I will break out towards everything. So I actually started creating my own products. I went to different manufacturers. I went to the actual raw ingredient manufacturers and actually concocted my own products. And so what was great was my cystic acne went away, but what I was left with was a ton of scarring. So for me, the acne was one, part of my insecurity, but more importantly, the acne scarring was a huge blow to me because I felt like if I have the scarring, it's going to be here forever. And ask anybody, scarring is the hardest skin condition to treat by far. Ask any dermatologist, any esthetician, it is the hardest skin condition to treat. So I was like, okay, what am I going to do? I need to wait for my acne to clear up. So once my acne cleared up, I saved up a few $1,000s, and I was going to go to this recommended family friend who was going to give me a laser treatment. So I went to the clinic expecting to shell down, $2,000 at least, get my face lasered, my acne scars would go away, all my problems would go away. And the plastic surgeon actually said, Daisy, I actually do not recommend that you get lasers done on your skin because you have a darker complexion, you're prone to scarring. This laser and this heat will actually create more scarring on your skin. Do not recommend it. And then he said, you know what? Have you tried this thing called microneedling with a vitamin C serum? Because I heard it for the 10th time from someone very reputable and trusted, I said, well, I have nothing to lose. He's not trying to sell me anything. He said I could just do it at home, right? He's like, I don't want to take your money. Just do it at home. See what you think. So I did it at home. Didn't think too much of it. I've just been used to so much negative feedback about my skin. I didn't really think anything of it. But people on my YouTube channel then started commenting, and they were like, what are you using? What are you using? Your skin is looking really nice. And people in real life started commenting. And on my YouTube channel, people said, okay, Daisy, whatever it is that you're doing, I want to buy it. So this is where Banish started in 2012, 2013. This was the OG Banish kit. And yeah, you can see we have the roller and the vitamin C serum and the cleaning container. And this was the first insert that I made. I don't have a degree in graphic design, obviously, but I would put them in the packages, and that is the birth of Banish. And for me, my mission has always been I want to democratize this amazing product, which is microneedling with vitamin C, because it worked for me. You don't need to spend thousands of dollars getting lasers done, whatever. And I want to make it easy for everyone to do it at home. And I don't feel like anybody should be prevented from having access of this product or this technology because they don't have the money to do it professionally, right? So I launched this product and then won some awards, Forbes 30 Under 30 Manufacturing, Inc. 500. I did a TEDx talk, and then I had a cool billboard in West Hollywood, which is like one of the most trafficked areas. And, just built an amazing community of Banish warriors. And our whole mission is for y'all to feel confident in your skin, regardless of the texture, regardless of what skin state you're in, all of that. So let's get on to the 10 microneedling myths. I'm going to go fast, okay, because we're on a time crunch. But I'll go through all 10 of these myths. Number one myth that people have is microneedling is dangerous. And I was actually confused about when this myth came out. And it actually came out at about 2021. Okay. This is after, like the peak of COVID, places are starting to open up, everyone was doing things at home. And all of a sudden in 2021, I hear from people, microneedling is dangerous. Don't microneedle at home. You're going to cause all these world problems, all this stuff, right? I was like, where's this coming from? And I actually found out it was because a lot of estheticians, some dermatologists, they felt threatened that people were not spending $500 for a treatment anymore, and they wanted people to stop doing things at home. And while, yes, there is a risk to anything you do in life, if you do it safely, you can reap so many amazing benefits that microneedling gives you, which I will go into later. But just a few things to make sure you microneedle safely, right? Anything you do, you get in your car, you cook at home, you shave your legs at home. There's always inherent risk to anything you do. So how can we limit the risk? Number one, make sure you're using a reputable device. Okay, so do the research from where you're buying it from. Make sure they've been around for a little bit. Banish, we actually use the same manufacturer that manufactures the devices for plastic surgeons, all of that. Now is not the time to go on Temu or Shein or wherever y'all are buying, cheaper items to get your device. Okay. Look on third-party review sites like on TikTok, on Reddit, other places too, to make sure you're getting a legit product. Number two, make sure you're following the directions. Okay, now is not the time to add your creative flair and how you do things. You want to make sure you're following the manufacturer's directions to a T. Do not share your device with anyone else. Sharing is caring, but not with microneedling. Make sure you're disposing of your device regularly. So people always ask us, like, how often should you replace the heads? How often should we get a new device? It's very, very important to replace it regularly. I always say, no more than 4 times if you're doing the whole face, 8 times if you're just doing a targeted spot treatment. But when in doubt, you want to replace the head because you don't want any corrosion, bacteria, what do you call it, bent needles, all of that. Okay. Make sure you're using the right serums on top. Okay, this is not the time to try out a new serum that's bright pink and smells like bubblegum. All right, you want to make sure you've used that topical before. If not, do a patch test. Make sure you're not allergic. Your skin is extra, extra sensitive when microneedling, so you want to make sure you're using the right topicals. And again, if you have any active acne, any active breakouts, sunburn, any kind of infection, any kind of broken skin, no to microneedling. All right, but if you follow these directions, you can see really, really, really great transformation in your skin. And again, I don't want anyone to be scared of doing something that has so many great benefits. For example, in this study on the left is actually stretch marks on the body. Okay, stretch marks are actually very, very difficult to treat, and the skin on the body is much thicker than on the skin. But you can see when they microneedled with ascorbic acid, which is vitamin C, you can see how much thicker the skin is on the right side. Okay, there's more collagen there. And just in so many different studies, there's been so many positive statements about microneedling, the results of microneedling. Microneedling significantly increases baseline collagens type 1, 3, and 7, newly synthesized collagen and tropoelastin. Compared to other treatments, microneedling offers similar or superior outcomes with fewer side effects and shorter recovery times. All right. Okay, so the next biggest myth, and if there's anything I want you to take away from this, is that longer needles are not better. Okay, everyone thinks that you need to go super long, super depth to get the benefits from microneedling. And that is absolutely false. Okay. People are like, why don't you sell longer needles? Or, it's not effective enough. No, no, no. Everything I do for my brand is based off a lot of research. So I'm going to show you what the actual reality is. So people think that your face needs to look like Kim Kardashian's doing the vampire facial to get results from microneedling. And in fact, if any of y'all have had a vampire facial before, the blood is not from microneedling. It is from your arm. They inject a vial of blood and they spin it and they put the blood platelets on the face on top. So number one, this is not even from microneedling. Number two, there's no research that says the platelets actually do anything. It's just cool and Instagram worthy, okay? And gets people talking and clicking and all that. So there's been a lot of research done as to what is the best depth for microneedling. And in this book, The Complete Guide to Microneedling by Dr. Lance Setterfield, he included this photo. And this was a study done by Dr. Schwartz. So they had people get microneedling done at a 1.5 millimeter length, but they found collagen only at this level, at a 0.1 to a 0.5. Okay, so that purple is the collagen in the skin, and they only found collagen growth there. Okay, so they said they only found results from a 0.5 to a 0.6, despite they microneedled at a depth of 1.5 millimeters. And in fact, your skin is only 1 millimeter thick at the thickest. Most people it's like 0.8, depending on how old you are. Okay, so the older you are, the thinner your skin is, unfortunately. So you don't need to go too deep because your skin is only, less than 1. Okay, so here's kind of an image of microneedling depths. So what we want to do is we want to trigger the dermis, and that's it. We do not want to go into the subcutaneous tissue, and that's where you have fat and all that other good stuff, okay? There's no reason to go into the fat beneath your face. So even a 2 millimeter is not necessary. So you can see that at that 0.3 to 0.5 length is where you're going to trigger that dermis, and it's going to trigger the growth factors to replicate collagen in the skin. Now, I'm going to go a little bit technical here, so if it just goes over you, that's totally okay. But in order to understand what the best length is in terms of microneedling, we need to understand how it works underneath the skin and what we're trying to achieve. So basically what happens is when the microneedling pricks that dermis, it releases this TGF-beta-3 protein. Okay, this is very, very important because this is the whole point of microneedling. We want to release this beta-3 protein because it controls collagen production and scar formation. Microneedling is the only way to promote collagen in the skin without releasing a scar. I'm going to say that again. Microneedling is the only way to promote collagen in the skin without creating scars, creating further scarring, right? You think about getting the cystic acne, it leaves a scar. You think about a paper cut, a bird, everything, it leaves a scar, right? I just got a C-section, I have a huge scar down there, right? But the great thing about microneedling is that it will not leave a scar, okay? So we really want to make sure we just hit it so that that protein is released, and that's it. So again, in these studies, it says that TGF-beta-3 is unique because it helps with scarless wound healing. And then you're like, okay, well, how do they know if things are happening under the skin? Because I was actually curious, like what are they doing to seeing if activity is going on there? They actually use electrical cell stimulation to kind of figure out what's going on. So in a study, it's called the proliferation of microneedles, Duncan et al. Found that skin cuts to a depth of 0.5 to 0.6 millimeters has electrical cell stimulation. Zhao, in a different study, reported similar effects of electrical occurrence on cell motility and healing. So here's a sodium potassium pump here and the replication of that collagen DNA on that other side. So they're just trying to figure out where exactly in the skin that's happening, and they found to a cut of 0.5, okay? A ton of other great studies, I'm not gonna go into it, but it's just basically saying that 0.5 is great for epidermal rejuvenation, fine lines and hyperpigmentation, wrinkle reduction, overall skin texture improvement. It's effective for mild to moderate scars, fine lines, mild texture irregularities, and skin tone, okay? So you get the biggest bang for your buck in microneedling with a 0.5. You do not get bleeding. You shouldn't be bleeding, or very, very, very minimal. You know, no issues, very little downtime. You just want to, again, target that growth factor, that beta-3, and that's it. Okay, you don't want to incur any more damage, because any more damage in the skin is just going to create more downtime without giving you anything in return. Like why go through that? Okay, so Banish has always been launching, or even when we had the rollers, it was a 0.5, Banisher 2, Banisher 3. That's basically based on all the research out there. All right, next one, microneedling devices are all the same. No, they're not, okay? They are not all created equal. So you can see the Dr. Pen, we got the Dermaroller, and then we got the Banisher 3.0. You can see the Dr. Pen. I actually did this banana image, but the Dr. Pen, you can see just how thick those needles are. The Dermaroller, you can see the tram track scarring, and the Banisher, you barely see anything, all right? So it's really important is that in that same study, again, they found the 0.5 to 0.6 had electrical stimulation. The conclusion of that study was that when you microneedle, you want to use non-traumatic microneedles with a preferable tip radius of not more than 2 to 3 micrometers. Do not create a classical wound that bleeds. Remember, we want to create collagen. We don't want to create scarring. So you do not want to create that classic wound, right? You don't want to create a regular wound that is going to create a scar. So you don't want to also create bleeding. And so you also don't want thick needles, okay? So maybe thicker is better in other instances, but in this case, we want thin, tiny little needles that will just trigger it, okay? So, and then also with the Dermaroller, you can see the roller can create tram track scarring, which can create more irritation. So it can scoop into the skin, whereas the Banisher presses straight down. And I've also got the Dr. Pen treatment done to me, and you guys, my skin is like will scar over everything, and I actually have scarring from the Dr. Pen because I used it like around here. So I have tiny little scars that are not from acne, it's from the Dr. Pen, okay? So just be careful, especially if you're like me and prone to getting a scar. Myth number 4, Dermarollers are the best. No, stampers are better, right? Because we don't want to create the tram track scarring. And again, in that article, you want to use a tip radius of not more than 2 to 3 micrometers. You do not want the classical wound that bleeds. So you can see just how much thinner the Banisher is in comparison to the other devices, Dr. Pen and a typical Dermaroller. Okay, myth number 5, thicker needles are better and do more for the skin. So I talked about why we don't want to create a classical wound. And you can see here just how much thinner the Banisher is. And actually the Banisher needles are finer than a human hair, okay? Okay, the next biggest myth, this is the second thing I want you to take away from this, is vitamin C after microneedling. And I did not understand why in 2021 people are telling me microneedling was dangerous, but also they were telling me that you cannot use vitamin C after microneedling. So I launched this company in 2013, and I did a lot of studying into what would be the best ingredient to use after microneedling, and it has been by far L-ascorbic acid, and I'm going to share with you why. So vitamin C in the form of L-ascorbic acid is essential for the hydroxylation of proline and lysine residues during collagen biosynthesis, a process required for stabilization and cross-linking of the collagen triple helix. Topical application of L-ascorbic acid has been shown to increase collagen synthesis in both aged and photo-damaged skin. So vitamin C, people think all vitamin C is created equal, and it's actually not. L-ascorbic acid is the most studied form of vitamin C, and it is a form of vitamin C that the skin cell can actually understand and absorb. Okay, so it doesn't matter how great your vitamin is if your body can't digest it, right? Like we pee most of our vitamins out. Same thing with a lot of other forms of vitamin C. It doesn't speak the same language as your skin, but L-ascorbic acid does, and that's why it is always the gold standard for vitamin C. And if you want to actually build collagen in the skin, it is L-ascorbic acid. It is not anything else, okay? Because it is a direct factor to promoting that DNA replication of collagen. L-ascorbic acid has a biochemical role in formation of collagen molecules. It stimulates and supports collagen at multiple levels. And people say, can you use peptides after microneedling? Yes, of course you can. But if your goal is to induce collagen, which for me, for acne scarring, you want to induce as much collagen as you can because you're trying to lift that scarring up a little. You know, peptides, all that stuff, it's like helpful and it's good. You know, there's great benefits. But again, if you want to directly impact the production of collagen in your skin, you have to use L-ascorbic acid. So that is why from the get-go, Banish has our vitamin C, E, and ferulic acid serum. And the reason why there's this combination is because it increases the efficacy of vitamin C 8-fold. So we just want as much, you know, as much vitamin C as possible to really get absorbed into our skin and create that collagen replication process. Okay, so this is kind of how it works. Getting a little technical, but the ascorbic acid can actually go through the skin cell walls. Okay, again, other ingredients cannot do this, or we don't know if it can do that, but we know this can. Okay, it makes from proline to lysine, it adds an OH factor, which makes it hydroxyproline and hydroxylysine. All right, and that will impact the replication of the wound healing, that growth factor we talked about, and the collagen. Okay, so it is a direct way to promote collagen in the skin. And as you can see here with that case of the stretch marks when they microneedled with L-ascorbic acid, you can see just how much thicker the skin is. I was trying to figure out where this fake news came from, and it was because there was one particular study in which someone did develop issues after vitamin C. And in that study, it was because they were allergic to the vitamin C topical. So they used a vitamin C that they were allergic to. And that particular brand of vitamin C has actually been pulled from the market, and that company no longer sells it anymore. And the nickel in the needle acting as an antigen sort. So that person was also allergic to nickel in the Dermaroller or whatever device they used. Unfortunately, this person relocated provinces before further investigations could be pursued. But if you took stats, correlation does not equal causation. So just because it happened this one time does not mean it's always going to happen. And I would hate for people to believe in fake news because there's so much evidence that vitamin C ascorbic acid is the best for collagen replication. Okay, so what makes the Banish serum different? Again, L-ascorbic acid is the highest efficacy in stimulating collagen synthesis. Essential factor for prolyl and lysyl hydroxylase. But the limitations of it is that number one, it can oxidize quickly. And number two, it requires a low pH for skin penetration. So this is why Banish's vitamin C serum is made fresh and our vitamin C is clear. So every vitamin C serum you get is clear. If you leave it out for 8 months or so, it's going to turn orange. SkinCeuticals, when you get it, it's already orange. And they say that because they don't want you to know that it's been sitting out. And this is why Banish, we don't sell retail, we don't sell wholesale, we sell it direct to the customer so they get the freshest vitamin C possible because it's the most effective, right? And then also you want a low pH for skin penetration. And this is why people ask, well, why does it sting when I put on the vitamin C serum? It's because it's at a low pH, because in order for it to work, it has to be at a low pH. And this is an example of oxidation. So on the left is an apple without the Banish serum on it, and on the right it has the Banish serum. So same thing with the vitamin C serum. Do you want a brown orange one or do you want like a fresh one? Okay. All right, so we got 10 minutes, so I'm just going to speed through here. Next myth is collagen induction stops right after microneedling. And the crazy thing is that your skin is remodeling constantly after microneedling. So it's like working overtime for you. It's like passive income for your collagen. Okay, so this is a biopsy of skin, and you can see on the right is skin that's been microneedled. In the article, Microneedling Advances in Widening Horizons says that new collagen continues to be laid down for 3 to 6 months after treatment, leading to improvements in skin thickness. Okay, so thicker skin is always better. To have thick skin is too, especially if you post on the internet. The next one is how the replication and how the skin is healing in 4 different stages. So number 1 is homeostasis, which happens in minutes. Once you prick your face, you get that growth factor TGF beta 3 that we talked about that will create collagen without forming scars. Then you get inflammation that happens up to 2 days post-treatment. Growth factors starting to form, new tissue formation, increasing blood flow. So that's why you get a little bit red sometimes after your microneedling, especially if you're new to this. Then you have the proliferation phase, which is 2 days to a few weeks post-treatment. Fibroblasts, which are responsible for collagen and elastin, are activated. New skin cells, keratinocytes proliferate, leading to epidermal thickening. Type 3 collagen is deposited into the dermis. Okay, so that's why also after I microneedle, I get kind of like, what do you call it, a tiny bit of skin flakes. Not as bad as if I use like Retin-A or anything, but you kind of get a little bit of skin flaking. That's that proliferation phase working. And then the next thing is remodeling phase, which is up to 6 months post-treatment. Type 3 collagen is replaced by type 1 collagen, which is stronger and more durable. Increased elastin production helps improve skin elasticity and tightness. Extracellular matrix is rebuilt, enhancing skin texture, firmness, and hydration. Okay, so just like remodeling your kitchen, everything takes way longer than expected. So remodeling your skin by microneedling, it takes 6 months. Like things are just working behind the scenes, which is great because you don't have to, you just got to maintain it. Okay, next is stainless steel. That metal is better than titanium for microneedling. And why is titanium better than stainless steel for microneedling? I'm gonna go super fast. Okay, and if this meeting ends, I love you guys. Thank you for attending. All right. But the reason why the Banisher is made out of titanium, it is 2 to 4 times stronger than stainless steel. It holds a sharper edge longer. Okay, so the needles stay precise over multiple uses. It's highly resistant to corrosion, oxidation, especially when you're using like vitamin C. It's also hypoallergenic, so those with sensitive skin or metal allergies will be able to tolerate titanium a lot better. And again, some cheaper stainless steel alloys can contain nickel. So in that study, that patient actually was allergic to nickel, which is why she got an infection from microneedling. Okay, so that's why we use titanium. Okay, microneedling is best paired with radiofrequency, and that's actually false. People think that, ooh, longer needles, more heat, all that is so good for me. No. Okay, I know a lot of people will try to sell you radiofrequency. Morpheus 8 is like, I don't know, $2,000. I don't know how much it is. It's a lot of money. The reason why a lot of doctors do not recommend this is that your skin is only 1 millimeter thick. If you use heat, which is radiofrequency, at a 4 millimeter length, you are going to melt the fat off your face. Okay, I like the fat melted off from my belly, but not from my face because that causes volume loss and signs of aging. So if you are going to use radiofrequency, Dr. Amir Khan says you should only do it at a 0.5 millimeter length because that does not reach the subcutaneous layer as we've seen. Okay, last myth. Only those with light skin can microneedle. And the beauty of it is that microneedling is for all colors of the rainbow. Okay, any skin color can microneedle. We are an all-inclusive. Okay, we're inclusive of all different kinds of skin colors and skin textures. And the reason why this is so important is that, those with darker skin, even with me when I wanted to get my laser done, a lot of us cannot do chemical peels and a lot of us cannot do laser treatments, anything with heat, because we're going to scar even more. We're going to create more hyperpigmentation, all of that. So in this study, microneedling for Asian and skin descent, there was a 50 to 75% improvement in scar appearance. And we've had a lot of customers of, Indian descent too, who love Banish and love microneedling because it's really hard for them to get rid of dark spots, right? And they can't do the, chemical peels and whatnot.
You can see these dots, right? These 2 dots. This is not pores, because pores are here. These are actually scarring from using the Dr. Pen because the needle is thicker. And you can see the needle, you can see all the gross banana. And I just did it for like 10 seconds. You can see that the needles are much thicker on the Dr. Pen. So for me, it caused more scarring. Also with the Dr. Pen, most people use numbing cream. Again, there's nothing wrong with using numbing cream, but I do think numbing cream is actually more dangerous than microneedling devices because some people have very, very adverse reactions to numbing cream. I mean, it is a form of like anesthesia, right? So it is like a derivative of anesthesia, and some people don't react well to it. So I would do more research into that. I'll do another video about numbing creams. So for the Banisher, I think the weight and the grip is really, really good. When I was developing this, I actually tested it myself. And I actually sent the actual molds to my team and I was like, what do you think of this grip? What do you think of this grip? And we also put different weights in the device because I wanted it to have some weight. I didn't want it to be like a flimsy, like plastic pen. And also the way it's designed, okay, it is in a cone shape, conical shape. Why? Because I wanted it to, when you press, it kind of pushes into the skin. It almost bounces in there a little bit. You get a nice like push into the skin. With a lot of these devices, especially with the Dr. Pen and the Dermarollers, you're just you're just doing that, okay? Causing lacerations in the face. This one, you just stamp, push, get out, that's it. Stamp, push, get out, that's it. Stamp, push, get out, that's it, right? So that was that. 77 gold-plated titanium needles. And then most recently, we have the replacement heads that come out to be less than $20 per head. Okay. The sanitizing cap is to clean the device, and this is how I designed the Banisher 2.0 because I'm somebody that is a clean freak, and if you do want to clean your device mid microneedling, you can do that, and you don't need to buy any specific cleaner for it. Like, there was an idea to sell a specific cleaner, but I was like, you guys, if it doesn't make sense, I'm not going to just do it just to make more money. Like, I think you have to understand that of me. Like, I say no towards almost every product that comes across me, like any formulation, I pretty much say no. And we constantly discontinue stuff because I always want to focus on and like reinvest money back into improving what we already have and making sure the quality is good versus just launching whatever is like trendy, right? So that's why I've always said no to microinfusions, no to motorized things so far. And in the Banisher, you get, in the Banisher box, you get 2 also replacement heads that you can use. And then we also sell packs of these replacement heads that you can use. Now, it's also very important to, whichever microneedling device you're using, obviously the Dr. Pen, you have to buy new cartridges every time. I feel like the Dermaroller, you do need to replace frequently. The Cure, you have to throw away every time. The Banisher heads, you do need to replace, but you can get away with reusing it a few times before you replace it. I know times are tough. I'm not going to tell you you need to buy a new head every single time to make more money from you. I do believe that you can clean it if you follow the proper usage, but please, please, please don't use it like a lot of times. Like, don't use it definitely no more than 8 times. If you, for your full face, definitely no more than 4 times. Like, don't just like reuse it recklessly and cause more damage and injury to yourself. It's not worth it. But you know, I wouldn't be completely honest if I said you have to buy a new head every time or you're not gonna like, or it's not gonna work. Like, I'm not in something where you have to dispose of it and buy a new one. To me, that doesn't feel right. That doesn't sit right with me. But I also want you to not harm yourself, right? Because the needles are so fine. They're gonna not last as long as something that is like a steel thicker needle. All right. So I'm going to go into the comparison of the pricing. I do know that it kind of changes, but I'm going to do a comparison of the pricing and where you can buy them. But I hope this helps. You guys, if you have any questions or feedback, please let me know. I've been in this business for a long time. There's a lot of fake news out there. AI can be fake. And you guys, I've been in this business for so long. I won the Forbes 30 Under 30 in manufacturing because of my research and knowing all about microneedling devices. I truly, truly believe in microneedling. I think it is far better than really any kind of thing we can do for our skin out there, but I want to make sure that everyone's getting the right information. And you know, with AI and ChatGPT, sometimes the information they pull is not right. And for something as, you know, serious as your skin and your health, like, we do not want to be getting wrong information or putting wrong products on our skin. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later.